How you doing, everybody? My name is Dean Olson. I am a songwriter, radio host, and producer from Orange County, California, and I'm really just an average guy who loves to make music. However, when I get behind a microphone, just like this one, I become the strong writer on the radio, helping songwriters and artists keep musically fit. Now, the way I love to do that is through faith and hope and encouragement, by taking in the stories and experiences told to me by my wonderful guests, and by learning from the best in the business and passing it along to you. All right, and I want to welcome you to another beautiful day for a fantastic show. Thanks for checking me out on iHeartRadio. Power me up, talk and music 24/7, the station with heart on iHeart. And I want to introduce you all to a guest with some gusto, but I don't know how much I'm going to be able to play on the air. But hey, listen, the man has a story to tell, and he's waiting here right there on the screen. Meet Beau Nair.
How y'all doing? What's up?
Good. You're an outlaw country musician and songwriter extraordinaire whose fusion of funk bass and colorful blunt lyrics fill the void in modern country music. His sixth album, Bonafide, is out there. I mean, really out there. So welcome to the show, please, the unique Beau Nair.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Nice to be here.
I got through that. Let's see. Man, okay, let me, before we get started here. Mom, turn the radio off now.
I'm going to be good. I'm good to Mom.
I'm going to call you when it's over. The boys and I are going to have a chat here for a little bit. So now I'm just trying to break the ice a little bit. I heard your stuff, and, you know, you're quite a prolific songwriter, at least for as far as getting started when the pandemic started. I think that's kind of your story.
Yes, sir.
In a nutshell, is, you know, the short story about how you got started in all this stuff. But I'm sure it goes a little farther back than that.
It does. Well, let me tell you, for a long time, I was kind of nobody, and I was happy to be nobody. I kind of made a reference once point to Arya Stark on Game of Thrones, where she had to become a person of, you know, no face or whatever. Like, I just had to disappear. And I went and I just vibrated, you know, for a while out there playing music and soaking up all the honky-tonks and pool joints and beer halls and stuff. I don't drink the beer, but I hang around where the music is and where the good times are. And where the people are. And when I came out to California, I was just blown away at all the different places in California. So different, the coast and the mountains and the desert, everything. But let me tell you, when the pandemic hit and I got locked down in my cabin, I was in the mountains alone. I had my little studio equipment around me, and some cannabis and mushrooms, I have to say, kind of unlocked something in me. And these songs poured forth at a pace that I was vibrating them all the right out. So I cannot tell you how this happened. I'm not blaming it on any magical power. I think that just all of my living just came out. And then as I was going through things while I was in that cabin, kind of like emotional and mental states, different things that I was going through kind of wove themselves into the stories. You can imagine a man alone in the mountains gets pretty lonely. So my seventh record, just out, Dark Side of the Moonshine, was about when things got a little too heavy in my own personal moonshine. But my next record, and I can tell you it comes out this Friday, is Appetite for Seduction. And this record is my most seductive and, dare I say, lascivious yet. There's a song on there, or two or four, that's going to really hit home for those gentlemen out there that love their lady. Or miss their lady.
Appetite for Seduction, is that the 8th or the 7th one you're just talking about?
That's the 8th record.
Holy mackerel. Yeah.
So here it is. I decided, as long as I'm making these songs, let me just put them out there. Well, why not? And I realized as I'm putting them out, I don't think anybody's ever done this before. Now, I ain't comparing myself to nobody, but an album a month for 9 months, like a baby. That's what I decided to do. My 9th album's coming out in March. And then I'm going to put out some compilations with some new songs and stuff like that for my weed smoking fans out there, which I had many. But really, when it comes down to it, as these albums unfolded, my personal journey is written right there in those songs. And yeah, they're salacious. And yeah, these are times of cancel culture, right? Can't say certain things, can't do certain things. I am a live wire, sir. That's what makes me an outlaw. I don't hold my tongue. And yeah, I don't get played everywhere. That's kind of hard to handle, that I ain't on the Grammys, but you, sir, are a fan of songwriting. And I think that what you're at some point recognizing is that underneath some of these funny lyrics and stuff like that beats the heart of a serious songwriter. I put some depth into my chords, man.
Yes, I can appreciate that as a fan of songwriting. You seem to. Well, one of the things that some of my guests are pretty purist when it comes to rhyming things in a proper fashion. You seem to have that down. You're under all that all the fun frivolity, the whimsicalness, or the whimsy, whatever you call it. You're having a good time with it, and you seem to do it properly. So for those of us who like to nitpick on the grammar and stuff, you seem to have it down.
I'm going to tell you, my friend, that that's me on all the instruments as well. I played the piano on there, all the boogie woogie and stuff like that. Because stuff that I learned on the road that you never know what you're building a skill for, right?
Right.
I mean, you might be somebody that grew up churning butter, and you grow up and you go into adult films, and you're doing this for a living. I don't know.
Yeah, who hasn't thought of that once in a while?
But we can get to a whole different discussion on that.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you learned a variety of instruments. How far does that go back? You mind giving us a history of what you learned first and how that goes?
My Beau Nair, was an itinerant man, and so I went with him because my mother was out doing her thing, and sometimes you got to go with one or the other. So when I was with Pappy, I'd be on the road, and we go to various places along the way. He liked to have a good time, so I get thrown in as having a good time. And I saw a lot of things at an early age I shouldn't have seen, and heard a lot of things I shouldn't have heard. But in the same respect, I became the person that I am, and I like the person that I am. So I love that part of my journey. But as a young man, going with my father to houses of ill repute, he went to have his tune up every once in a while and stuff like that. And they'd have a piano player in the lounge at some of these places in Mississippi, Alabama. And I've been sitting there and listening, and I don't care about the naked women. I'm 9 years old, and I'm enthralled with the piano. And there's boobies to my left, to my right, all around me. They're crowding in, boobies like earmuffs, and I can't even I'm looking at the piano. So I learned from people, and then I learned some acoustic guitar, and then the funk bass came in my formative years. There's a movie that I saw that blew my mind, and I'm just listening to country music. Are you familiar with the movie Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band with the Bee Gees?
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, sure. Not well received by many, but I saw the whole thing. It was good.
Let me say those people, because two things. Well, one, that made me a lifelong Beatles fan in a way that for some reason the Beatles' actual music it just took it over the visuals and stuff like that. We know it's cheesy. We know it's all. We know all. The band, amazing. Bernard Purdy on the drums, Wilbur Bascombe on the bass, Max Middleton on the keys. Good story behind that. Produced by George Martin, Jeff Emmerich on the engineering, Tower of Power horns. Come on.
Right. You got Frampton in there. You got the George Burns showing up once in a while. A little something for everybody in that.
Burns, it sure does. Didn't Burns do something for Hertz? I don't think. Rental car?
Maybe.
But I was going to say, that's the first place that I noticed the bass, Wilbur Bascombe. You listen to that stuff, and he's doing all these double stops and stuff. I was like, what is that? And so I started listening. And then I got into the Crusaders, and that was important. But Elton John, Dee Murray.
Right.
And then Iron Maiden, Steve Murray. No relation, Dee Murray and Steve Murray, but the Murrays are very prominent in my bass playing pantheon. Geddy Lee. Like I said, I got the bass right here.
There you go.
Of my love
Rickenbacker bass. Yeah, he was showing that earlier before we came on here. Really,
I love for the music of Rush. My God. That's the stuff.
And I heard a little bit of that Geddy influence in a couple of your runs there you do on the bass. I'm a big fan of what you've been able to accomplish on that instrument. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But part of what I brought, I loved, as I listened, I got into all this funk music and stuff like that, and everything, just deep. There'd always be a moment or two in a song where somebody did something cool for like this one. I love that moment. I wanted the whole song to be that. I didn't want to hold back. So I let it loose, and somehow it all found its way in a way where I feel like some people might be overplaying, but it feels completely appropriate to the type of music that I created, which is funktry, funk and country all together in a magic of the lawns.
Copyright Beau Nair. Is that your term now?
That is. You can use it out there. If anybody dares to step up and want to slap the label of funktry on their music, you're going to have to wiggle some booty out there, and we going to know. You can't fake the funk, okay? That's what... Something I lived by early on in one of these places that I was, where I actually got turned on to a Luther Rab record, deep funk shit. And we're talking about is like a thing about weed and a thing about funk. Don't rag the regs and don't fake the funk. It's two things you can't do. So I never did that. And I wanted to make sure that this was a pantheon of bass licks that nobody ever heard before.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Why not be grandiose, right? What the...
It's definitely, it's melodic, and at the same time, it's got a. Now you're not going to find the kind of funk like you were talking about. Speaking of the '70s, you like Chuck Rainey or Louis Johnson or even Larry Graham. Not that plucking and slap bass. I don't hear a lot of it.
I save my slapping for the butt cheeks.
No kidding.
I save my slap. I don't like to slap. I dig people who do it. That's cool, but it's not my thing. I'm a double finger funker, as many people can attest.
Yeah. Now you got in the studio and did all this stuff. Are you a fan of fingering your instrument, or
I am,
or picking your instrument? Yeah.
Some may say that I'm famous for fingering.
Yeah.
But I'm all fingers. I can play with the pick. I could do it, and sometimes I'll do a little McCartney kind, but I love the fingers. And the thing about it is I play piano, and piano is a percussion instrument. And that makes me play more percussively on the bass. So when I'm doing all that stuff on the Rickenbacker here, it's pretty cool.
Tell me about your sorry, but interrupt you there for a second. Recordings, I've noticed, here's a compliment for you. They're not overproduced, just the right amount of instrumentation. You only put a few in there. You don't overdub too much. With your what kind of setup do you have in your personal studio there in the mountains?
Well, first of all, I got to say, as an aesthetic, there's certain touchstones for me, like the band Cake and Jamiroquai. That's the kind of stuff I like. It's really transparent. You could hear it. So when I mix, I'll put the mixes on my phone across the living room. I'm sit way back and see if I can hear everything. Yeah? Nothing too crispy, nothing disappearing, nothing too muddy. Once I learned about reductive EQ, that was it all. But so when recording these, I really had a very simple setup. It's going to make you crack up, but I was recording in this program, Reason, which I love. Reason is a great program. And the bass is direct, and the piano is a single 57 on the back of the soundboard and a sweet spot on my Kawai. And the vocals, I was actually just singing straight into the MacBook onboard mic.
Beautiful.
How about that?
Yeah. Hey, using all the modern technology, but you got a simple approach to it too. So I like that.
It's clean. I mean, I give credit to Apple. I mean, I've sang to $15,000 mics and all that kind of stuff, and there's a nice big sound to it. But for me to be able to cut lead vocals to sound credible to records I've done in studio situations is... I give Apple a lot of credit. So, it's a real simple setup, but it worked for me, and you can hear everything. That's what's most important. And the bass.
What about the other part of your rhythm section? Are you programming your drums, or you got yourself a kit in the corner there? I
do have a early 70s, late 60s Ludwig green sparkle kit, which I really dig. But I got to say that most of these drums I programmed them myself because when it came down to it, I was doing a lot of stuff on the drums because I like to be free on drums like I'm free on the bass. And I realized that for the bass to be free, the drums had to be a straight man.
Yeah.
So I had to, and I feel like it's good. It's in a good zone. Everything hits well, but it gives me a lot of places to move it and massage it to be what I need it to be, so I can let the bass and the piano and the song really, the vocals and the harmonies come to the Bee Gees thing I got going in there.
I like how you put that. Not too much sparkle in the percussion, like a hi-hats or anything that you're doing. Like give that, just have them keep the time and little personality in there, and you did it. So
I listened to so much great music my whole life that I feel like at a certain point, if you listen to enough good, you got a level by which you know what you want to associate with. I ain't aiming for the lowlights.
Yeah. And I've listened to some of your other, the previous albums, just a little bit here and there, and maybe some of the new one that you were talking about, The Dark Side of the Moonshine and everything. So a lot of the stuff, you put it out so close together, so there's a very similar, it looks like you could just sort of put this thing on shuffle, and you got a whole big album there that sounds like, I don't know how many tracks you got all together, but you got quite a compendium there now.
Well, it's a dozen per record, although I think one record had 13, but since I have kept adding a little bit since I finished writing all these songs and recording stuff. The last record, I think, is at 14 tunes, because you write a song and it has to be on there. It turns out like Black Sabbath, perfect example. They did an album. They're like, we need one more song. and Paranoid came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So right here in the end game right here, delivered up a couple that I think are, to me, powerful tunes, and I'm glad to get them out there. Look, if you want to get into Jimi Hendrix right now, his whole catalog sitting there waiting for you. You can dive in anything you want, whatever, greatest hits, whatever. For me to put out this much music so quickly is a bit of a challenge. But my fans are hanging along, and people who are diving in have a lot to discover. And then I have a lot to choose from as I get my live band together, which I'm doing right now, so I can put it out there in a way where people see how real this is. This ain't no fake studio creation. It's going to be as real as giving birth.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Keyboards, not a huge, big amount on the album, but it's good when it calls for it. I hear it when it calls for some piano.
There's more coming. I got a little crazier on the piano, but if you listen to some of the stuff that has piano, and you really focus on what's going on in there, I take pride in my percussive stride. So what I do, and I would like to say, I'm talking about myself like Wheeler Walker, whatever. I say let the music do the talking, like Joe Perry from Aerosmith wrote and perfectly encapsulated. You do it, and people will talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? If it sucks, people ain't be like, well, what's next?
Hey, what more could be true? Yeah. But listen, I like the sensibility and the influence you grew up with there. It sounds like you're after my heart. For I'm near 60 now, and I figured that's my generation of music that you're talking to me with that. So
yeah, right here by my turntable. Here, look, check it out. Here's what I got going on here. I got Running on Empty, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's one of the finest records.
There you go. Now you're into my world.
And then I got the 1-2 punch right here. Some of my favorite stuff. You can find.
I am not embarrassed to say I got one of these on the screen that he's not mentioning it yet, but he's got two of the. Let's see. I think I had another one too on. Well, it was given to me, but that doesn't mean a thing. I got it in my collection.
There's a nice collection there, but the songwriter you got, I want you to clue into is Tony Romeo, or it might be Romeo, but I think it's Tony Romeo. He wrote I Think I Love You, but he also wrote You Don't Have to Tell Me, and some of the really amazing, I don't want to call them power ballads, but amazing songs. You Were Always on My mind.
Yeah. He's talking about Partridge Family. For those who can't see what's going on here, you're only listening to this.
Right.
But yeah. So are you telling me David Cassidy did not write these songs? That it's Tony Romeo?
Well, Wes Farrell, and there's just people involved. But
Wes Farrell's big time.
Again, you go down. This is the whole Wrecking Crew. All right. So you go into the history of Los Angeles. This is the Wrecking Crew stuff. Larry Nectel and Joe Osborne, Max Bennett, Tommy Tedesco, Hal Blaine.
Oh man, this is the Wrecking Crew that we didn't really know back then, and they were all. Hal Blaine was that's how I got to know him, through that particular album right there.
Hal Blaine and Bernard Purdy are the 1-2 most recorded drummers ever, right?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and they respected each other. You wouldn't think that you think all drummers are alike, or they all know each other, but these two were big friends.
There's plenty of work to go around, evidently.
Yeah. Well,
but I like when you like a musician and you can go and find them on different records. Like, for instance, let me dip real quickly. In the mid-'70s, you had two instrumental bands on the East and West Coast. On the West Coast, you had the Crusaders, right? Joe Sample, Wilton Felder, and stuff like that. And they were session guys on tons of stuff. So you can go and find each of them individually all over the place, right? Yep. On the East Coast, you got stuff, right? Gordon Edwards on bass, Steve Gadd on the drums, you got Eric Gale, you got Cornell Dupree. You got some good stuff going on, and they're on all sorts of records too. Arlie Grover Washington and all that really good shit over there. So when I was back in the day when you could follow musicians all over the place, nowadays it's a little more faceless and nameless. However, when you're coming into my world, I'm all in one package. So you can follow me, and I'll be right there.
sounds like Beau Knows. I like this a lot.
Beau Knows. Hey, that might be a series I start.
There you go. I like
things
that.
I can talk about.
Yeah, you can. By the way, I appreciate you keeping the down to a tolerable level, something that might be able to catch, and then this will go over the radio, and then more people can get to know the Beau Nair, and go check out his big catalog that's only been out since maybe I don't know, pandemic 2020 or 2021, something like that.
Well, I started releasing records in July, and now it's
good grief. So July 2022, and you've been putting out an album a month.
They're all original, never before released. An album a month for 9 months in a row. Number 8 comes out on Friday.
Yeah. Wow. Some
Appetite for Seduction.
Well, thanks for getting a little backstory on your, those influences, and your songwriters and your session musicians. I mean, you took a lot of those names out of my mouth, but one that sort of came to mind as you're talking was Steve Lukather. He's one of these guys that he's just now getting his due over the last few years, but this is a guy that played in, obviously he was a session musician back up for Boz Scaggs, and then he was in Toto. Did incredible guitar work for Toto, rhythm and lead, and just to watch him. Ray Parker's another one of these guys. They would just appear on people's albums, and you would half the time you didn't even know it was them. Steve was responsible for tons of these guitar solos that just ended up in whoever wanted to record in the 1980s.
He and Neil Schon are two the most melodic. Like you could sing their solos. That was the thing. Gary Richrath too, rest in peace. He was another guy that you could say, "Wah, da, 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 take it on the run."
Yeah.
He took it on the run all the way.
Yeah, there's some great. I guess we could talk about this for a long time, but we got to talk about more important things like you, Beau.
Hey, thank you very much.
I appreciate that you had a little bit more to say than just the 7 to 14 things you can't say on TV. But
I'll dig as deep as you want. I'm seriously into it. I'm a fan of so much good stuff. I really am. Modern stuff, old stuff. I can go all the way back. I can go all the way forward. Wherever you want to go, I'm right with you.
Okay, so here's a one sheet that tells a little bit about Beau. First of all, it starts off New York City. I mean, New York. You have a connection to there? You come from there, or you?
Well, I'm being kind of promoted by an agency out there in New York that wants
that's
to
where the New York comes
to the world. Because listen, I'm working hard. I got one more album ahead of me before I could even take a break. So I'm working my ass off. So yeah, they're getting the word out, connecting me with folks like you to come out and talk about what I'm doing as I'm emerging.
Yeah. Well, good, because somewhere between New York and California, where you are right now, that accent had to come from someplace, and I don't think it was either one of those places. So, where you been traveling that you picked that up?
Every single state. I mean, think about it. All right, when you're traveling and playing music, you do little tours and shows and traveling. Sometimes I was just kind of drifting, looking for work and doing stuff. And I really spent time in every state. So you spend time there, you just soak it up. You hear the way people talk, you hear colloquialisms, things that people say in Louisiana, they don't say in Florida and stuff like that. You realize that the panhandle of northern Florida is more southern than the South sometimes. It's a little tricky, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I always laugh when I read the word Okahumpka along the turnpike.
Well, they got some stuff on the turnpike that you scratch your head, go, where'd they come up with this? That don't.
Well, they're Seminole names. I always give great respect.
Yeah, well, you thought so. Yeah, I guess they are. Yeah.
Native Americans, you got to realize we're on borrowed land. Somebody took umbrage with me saying that. Said, we ain't on borrowed land. This ain't stolen land. I'm like, it's either stolen or borrowed. Which is it? It's like, borrowed. I'm like, well, that means you got to give it back at some point.
Yeah, well, I guess
you
so.
borrow a library book, they come after you. It's like, well, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, repo's going to come calling on you someday. I don't know.
Repo, right?
Let's just hope hope they don't kick me out of my house. That's the only thing I'm
on the side of peace and unity. I like Ringo Starr walking around with the peace sign.
Yeah, peace and love.
I'll just get along.
Mm-hmm. Well, life. You told us a little bit. Life with with Dad in the clubs, ill repute, all that other stuff. Hey, we all got a story there. Life with Mom and Dad, kind of sketchy on paper. Can you give us a story of how you started out?
Well, one night I was sitting at the piano at off hours. Right, nothing going on. Everything was kind of quiet. And after watching all these people play, I started playing and. Sitting there and watching people for so long, I kind of knew what I was supposed to do. And it took me a couple of days and my fingertips were a little sore and stuff like that. But we'd stayed in this one area a while, so I could sit at this one particular piano. Every piano has like a personality. You got to have an individual relationship with it. They're not all just going to give up the goods to you. You got to coax it out of them. Some won't be tickled, some won't be pounded on. And it's all like, it's kind of like your Tinder profile. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but you jump on it anyway. You don't want to go too hard on it off the bat. Yeah.
Hey, you said hard on. Hey,
hard on. Yeah, I guess
what
so.
What kind of show is this? Hey, I got Gino Vanelli and Alan Sherman over my shoulder. I don't know if you knew that right there.
Now I can see him.
I just want to stop. So listen, I started playing piano, and that's where it started. Old pianos, nothing good. I never played on like a really good piano for a long time. I played on crappy pianos, missing keys and stuff like that. But that's the challenge. It's like playgrounds with broken equipment, but instead of staving yourself on an old slide, you just got to skip the D note. You know,
that's what happens. Yeah. You hit some of those keys, then nothing comes out. You just hear a big thunk.
Yeah, but then you learn space, and then it took a word out from what you were saying, metaphorically speaking, and you're like, oh man, you start to think about it. It's interesting because if you're playing a perfect piano, you might never discover the world of mistakes, which open doors, right?
Yeah,
the doors that open when you make a mistake and you capitalize on it, turn it into something. I can't tell you the amount of times that's turned into some fabulous stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's a lesson in there somewhere. You got any wisdom, like, don't be afraid to make mistakes, something around that line?
Most people I find are they take all this fear inside for a variety of reasons, and they condition themselves to believe that they can only do so much, that they can only go so far, that they can only be what maybe other people have been telling them to be, right? When somebody kind of writing you into a story rather than you creating your own fabulous dream, right? Mm-hmm. I always go back to David Bowie. David Bowie didn't ask anybody's permission to come out looking like he did Ziggy Stardust and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The embodiment of self-permission, right? So you need a spirit animal like that. Grab Bowie if you can't find another one. That's the best one there is in some way. I try to be a spirit animal for some people too myself.
Yeah.
When you let yourself be free, that's when you create your greatest stuff. I'm not making my music that like I think it's like, oh, I want it on the radio and everybody. I'm making it for me. It makes me laugh and I'm having fun and I'm getting it all out there, right?
Yeah.
That's the real reason why you got to write. The people who get so contrived and then they get a focus group tested and then they got a whole bunch of songwriters and there's 10 people writing one song.
Mm-hmm. That's going on all the time. It's been going on for a while.
Ain't going on here in my studio. Now, I just want to say, I'm putting out something that I believe in. I'm putting out something that I know is on the surface very funny and silly and stuff like that. But underneath it beats the heart of serious songwriters. So how do I get taken seriously? I don't know. But I think the right people hear these songs, they're going to realize what's going on. And it's only a matter of time before I'm out on tour and showing people what I can do. Because I ain't gone on camera and show people my boogie woogie skills. You listen to my records, you'll hear it. But when you see it, you will know.
There you go. Well, thank you for that. That's a wonderful, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm glad you were the one that said it. So thank you very much. But I'll tell you, you make a good point with the, and plus all these things that we're talking about, these albums that we grew up listening to, whether they're the Partridge Family or whether we're listening to, 2112 by Rush or anything like that. You're listening to not the sanitized, but you're listening to a nice polished product that's probably you didn't get to see or hear all the mistakes or, the things that led up to it. As good as these musicians were, they go, well, that take wasn't exactly what we wanted. Let's try it again,
Well, you can also listen to the multi-tracks of certain bands, like the Doors multi-tracks. Mm-hmm. Sounds like the drumming is terrible, but you can't separate it. It's part of a whole thing that's going on live because they play live in the studio. Nowadays, they build stuff, they quantize stuff, auto-tune. Listen, all of my records, every single one, top to bottom, there's not one thing that is auto-tuned on any of my albums. If something's out of tune, I left it. What the hell? Backup vocal was a little squirrely. I left it. Listen to my records. It sounds maybe strange today because everybody automatically goes to the quantizing and the beat detective and the auto tuning and the polishing. You polish everything out. You got a bunch of robots. You can't polish the humanity out. I left all of my humanity in.
Yeah, that was my downfall, or not. That was my weakness, was trying to polish everything. I'm not saying you're polishing a turd, but sometimes you can take something that's really good and overdo it. And now you're taking the life out of it. There was once some heart beating underneath there, something good that was raw, and then you sort of like dressed it up too much. You put too many coats on it.
The word is a craft. When you have taken this craft seriously, you go in and you lay it down, and it shows. You don't have to be fixed in the mix. You don't have to let somebody tune you afterwards because you came in and you sang it. and you played it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was right. And if somebody said, "Can you fix that part?" you said, "Punch that in," and you played it, and it punched on in, and you were done.
Yeah.
And when I play bass on my records, I'll run through it a bunch of times, kind of get myself to it, and I usually get one good long take. Maybe I might switch out a little part or not, but it's pretty much I like to lead the whole thing if I can.
Yeah.
And that way, if there's a part where it may squeak or a squonk on the bass, good, it's live. I did it. My fingers.
If not once, maybe a couple times, you've written it right there on the spot, right? It's done.
I heard, and I can't corroborate this, but I heard that Elton John, when he was playing with his early rhythm section, Nigel Olsson and Dean Murray, great, that they'd only run through it a couple times and then record it. So the drums and the bass, they're still kind of learning the song. So that's why some of Dean Murray's adventuresome stuff would jump around a little more, because he was trying to find his way. I jump around all the time. I love jumping around. Oh man, you got me all up the neck and plucking on the G string.
keep the juices flowing. That's what it does.
Yes, sir.
Good. Well, did you start out go back even farther? Did you start out by laying down some music? Before you started, I had your own studio and everything going, everything like that. Did you get yourself a tape recorder and start laying down some tracks and speaking some lyrics and then figuring out how you're going to make a song?
I got to say, at a Goodwill shop, I had an old Task Game cassette 4-track.
Oh, yeah. I had one of those.
Now, I got to say, all those tapes been lost in the years, but listen, you write those early songs, right? And I wrote some earnest songs, like Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest. Yeah. But it's more my modern stuff. But no, I wrote some heartfelt ballads and like that. They were good. Maybe if they would have lived on, they could have been out there now too. But it was all backstory. That was all building the skills. That was all trying it out. Oh, is this a G chord? Really? Mm-hmm. Most people don't get too deep. They play the main chords that people use. Everybody's trying to dumb it down to get the most people to like it. That you can't part myself. You can't water yourself down for everybody. You have to be an unadulterated version of yourself, so that the people who like the taste, they get all of it sizzling on their tongue. Yeah. What I'm talking about.
Got the backstory is a good way to put it. Yeah, it's kind of like the Beau Nair prequel, so to speak.
I remember I was playing with a band, and I was just a hired gun, and there's a producer I met, and I played him a couple of songs, and he told me he thought that my best songs were ahead of me. I kind of took umbrage because I liked my songs, but he was gosh darn right. He was right. So I want to always believe, and think about this as a songwriter. If you're a songwriter out there watching this, hearing us talk about this, your best song should always be ahead of you. Don't peak. Don't peak at all, unless there's a little panty shot going on. Maybe you could peak, but not in these modern times, not too long, unless you're giving it you on purpose. Woo! And then you might be able to peak. But if you see it, you got to kind of side eye it and then look away. Perverts ruin the panty shot. They did. They were filming and stuff like that, and mirrors on their shoes, and they ruined it. You used to be able to say, well, wow, look at that over there. Whoa. Yeah. Can't see that anymore.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to see that part of it. That takes the illusion.
Then women got to wear shorts under their skirts. What's the fun of that? Nice flowing panties. Said, man, your panties are way too tight. She said, well, take them off.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, thanks. Maybe you can connect the two timelines there. Did you ever take this stuff on the road before you became, the Beau Nair that we're looking at here?
All these songs, I'm putting out the recordings of. I haven't even taken them to a full band rehearsal yet. I'm trying to get my musicians down. It's actually been kind of difficult because I never put my own Beau Nair band together. And this music has to be played correctly. Now, I can lay down the boogie woogie, but sometimes I won't get up and sing. I need a piano player that can get back there and do the kind of chord stuff that I got. Maybe do a little boogie. All right, come on. Yeah. I'm willing to share the spotlight. I'm not like one of these guys that's like, it's going to be about me and a bunch of shadows in the back. I want everybody on stage to be somebody that's I'm proud to stand next to, and they're proud to stand next to me. Respect all around. That's the way it goes.
Well, you referenced Frank Zappa and Prince. Even they got themselves a band together to put their personality out there, and they have to carefully pick who they put behind those instruments. That like Prince, for instance, he was once playing all that stuff, but he knew when to step back and let that guy shine on the bass.
You're going to play in Prince's band. You're actually replacing Prince.
Yes, yeah, much like what you're asking.
Band, you're replacing me, and that's hard to do. So
yeah, because you as much as you credit all your influences on that bass, you've developed, everybody develops their own personality once they start playing it. And now you want to introduce whoever's going to be in that band to your bass playing. You might have to give them tracks and say, learn this kind of stuff, or get close as you can.
I found a gentleman that I think he's going to do it, but we haven't done it yet. So I think he's going to do it, and I'm pretty hopeful that he's going to do it. I think I've seen him play; he's got the skills to do it.
Yeah.
But I just got to get in that room, get on that stage, get behind that microphone, and let it rip. And in the words of Rita Marley, "He who feels it knows it."
Oh, didn't know that was her. That sounds good.
Album. One draw. Hey, Rasta.
Yeah.
Hey, what you say? Give me some of that sensei. Right up my head.
Yeah, I might have been the teacher in the back. Smokey, don't you do that? Yeah. I know that. I know that song very well. Hey, brother, man. Hey, what you say?
Give me some of that. Man, we talk about reggae and stuff, going to Yellow Man and Sister Nancy. Come on.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Oh, there was some, like you saying, I got a pocket full of influences as well, bag here and there. And this is what sort of puts your musical sensibilities together. You may not end up playing that, but somewhere it's in that subconscious. It's gonna surface one way or another.
And I find that, listen, it's about exposure. And most young people nowadays, unless they're insatiably curious, and curiosity is the hallmark of success, no matter what, unless they're insatiably curious and driven to dig back in the past, it's all gone. The internet's cleaved it all cleanly from them. So how to bring it into context for them is tricky. But if you dig back and listen to great stuff, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, whatever it is, and you absorb it, Miles Davis, Grant Green, all the good stuff, you absorb it, right? Mm-hmm. It infuses you, it comes out. There's times where I'm playing a Fender Rhodes or a clavinet, and I got Herbie Hancock in my left ear, and Joe Sample in my right, Max Middleton up in front. I'm all around. I got the surround. Max Middleton. Man.
Once you mentioned Rita Marley, it's just funny that we just talked about that. That's another one of these examples of you'll hear all kinds of stuff right now that's actually getting out on the airwaves that isn't getting banned. But I remember that one draw that was banned back in the old days on Jamaican radio stations for just being too salacious and then right no bad words, 80s, but
you get right into the 80s, all of a sudden we're passing the Dutchie on the left-hand side.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't even it called it what it was supposed to be, the Kutchie or whatever. I don't know.
The Mighty Diamonds, right?
Mighty Diamonds, yeah. Mighty Diamonds has some great stuff, yeah. But that's what that culture was all about, everybody's.
That's back when there was still that feeling that marijuana was this gateway drug, and just say no, Nancy Reagan, all that kind of stuff, right? Only Nancy Reagan said no back on the parking lot of the movies studios.
She said it in Mr. T's lap, I think. That's when she
didn't say no much, but listen, she did sit on Mr. T's lap. I think she got Mr. D. But I digress. We've moved on into a place where people understand the medicinal benefits of cannabis and the recreational benefits of cannabis. And look at me, man. My inspiration with a jar of weed and some mushrooms, too. I got to admit.
Well, hell, you went a little step too far with the mushrooms. Where'd you get those up in the mountains?
Well, one says a step too far. One says one giant leap for mankind. Oh, man. Where did I get those? Well, they're called stargazers.
Yeah, I just thought that was daring, man. That's I wouldn't be doing that. But you go for
Listen, the point of doing mushrooms is not to get all crazy and go out and howl at the moon. That might happen, but it's to cleave you from your ego. So for just a brief moment in your whole life, you could stand apart from yourself and then put yourself back together and never be the same in a great way, because you realize a lot of the stuff that is not serving you. And you laugh a lot, which I like. And I wrote 9 albums, but I mean, it's hard to say, kids, don't do drugs. But if you do drugs and you happen to write 9 fabulous albums of dirty, funky country music, you're welcome. Hey.
Well, dirty is probably one way to put it, but would you say that you would have written this with or without the influence of the chemicals or the natural weed and all that other stuff?
I can't say that. I can't go back in time and change anything, but I can say that it unlocked me. It really did. And I ain't saying anybody else should do anything I did.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I did it. all this music came out, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm having a good time taking it there. And look, I'm not like on mushrooms every day. I'm not a microdosing guy. I do smoke my cannabis, and I do enjoy it, and it does make me feel good. And I write a lot of music. I just wrote another song.
And you brag about that in your music. I'd just like people to be aware when they pick up. They say, "Hey, we're having a great."
It's not bragging; it's awareness. That's what it is.
There you go. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's not. People who watch my show for a long time know I'm a bit of a square, but I'm also not a prude. I understand the way the world works out there, and I got plenty of friends who do what you do. But mushrooms, that's one thing that they haven't admitted to. So there's that.
Well, I want to remove the stigma. Look, that's of all the things that I've been around people do a lot of things, and I haven't done a lot of things because I see people do them. I don't need to do them. Test subject, test case, test subject, test case.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to do cocaine, heroin. Don't need to take any pills. It's not in me to do all that kind of stuff. I like nature. I'm big on nature. The mushrooms is a very special thing. Should be treated as such and enjoyed in the great outdoors, out in the mountains, a beautiful stream coming down, and it mushrooms come from life, and life is what we are. So hey, I've got to say, if you dig my music, you got to at least tip the hat that was part of my evolution.
Well, I appreciate it. We're getting close to ending the show, but before we go, we will talk about this latest album you have before the seventh one. You get the sixth one is Bonafide. That's what I was introduced to. So the seventh one's coming up. It's probably already out by the time you're listening to this, but there's going to be probably about 9, if I understand you correctly, and then
that's true.
All in good time. Get that finished, and then start looking for that band that you were referring to.
Well, I'm working on the band because when that's finished, I want to hit the ground running. Hit the road running.
You get the ground and hit the ladies. I noticed that's a. You're not shy with the ladies. At least this is what we're. Are we always this confident when you're talking about the women in your life?
I think you kind of fake it till you make it in a way, but yeah, I mean, early on, I got over the fact that girls they were people to me. So I ended up relating to them as people, and I find it much better. There's a lot of guys nowadays that, I haven't gotten the game. I don't know how to talk to women. Have you ever just sat down and talked and made a friend?
Mm-hmm.
So what I realized early on is women really like to talk. And what women really appreciate is if you're a good listener. And I happen to be a good listener, especially when I'm listening to a beautiful girl tell me things that I like and get to see her all pretty sitting next to me and stuff like that. But any gentleman that's worried about having things to say, just ask a couple questions. Really? Tell me more. Oh, that sounds interesting. How'd you get into that? And just sit back and let her do all the talking. Then she'll feel like this guy really listens to me. He must really like me. And I found that I'm more turned on by the personality. I've seen a lot of boobies in my life, seen a lot of butts go by. Ain't none impressed me. Halloween costume, unless you got something inside. And what's inside's got to be special. So keep in mind that I know with those songs, it sounds like I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I wrote a lot of them at a time when I was all alone, locked in a cabin and trying not to masturbate my arm into a Popeye-like circumstance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Embellishments allowed. That's what songwriting is a lot. If we believed everything in these songs, not just you, but everybody else that are our heroes, we'd start to wonder: is this somebody I want to hang around with, or I admire? Who knows? But you got some.
I respect women, and I think that one of the things that comes across, hopefully in my interviews and whatnot, but in my records is we can get saucy and sexy and have fun, but there's respect. I ain't gonna come up doing anything. I have total respect. So if we have a mutual agreement, something's gonna happen, then we agree on it and we move forward. Consent. Yeah. All about consent.
Take that cancel culture and throw it out the window, because this is definitely not what they go for. I've
had a couple unexpected mustache rides I might not have consented to had they not leapt upon me in my younger years.
Well, I'm taking notes here. Mustache rides and women like to talk. That I'm going to write that down.
They do. But I'm not saying like listen and just like drone them out. I'm saying actually now figure out who they are.
Oh, listen. I'm a married man over 37 years, so I know women, or one woman anyway, and I know when she's going to talk, and you don't tune them out. That's not what you do when you're married. But
no, it's not. I appreciate
single life is better, for that kind of story that you.
I appreciate companionship. I do. I really do, and the kind of companionship that a long-term relationship provides is special and should be nurtured as such. I may not be the man for that. I don't know. No woman can tie me down.
Mustache rides. Never must. Haven't had a
song
mustache
about
in a long time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's lots of that going on in that song. I do listen to the music, and ever been smitten with one of these lovelies that maybe you don't wash your face for a few days? I don't know. It's you know how you just I say, hey, I met my hero. I'm not going to wash this hand for a week, but maybe you don't wash that mustache.
Well, I have a song actually about the scent of a woman permeate my mustache long after our parting. And
I remember that lyric. Yeah, yeah. There's
look,
some.
if it's really good,
You do have a turn of phrase, just to be serious. You got some. The legendary song "Vagina," I think, is one of those that I don't know if that's the one that where you rhyme Mons Venus with penis, but I tell you that's inspired.
Smothered in Mothers.
Smothered in Mothers. There you go. Okay, sorry about that, but hey, listen, I'm not saying they all blend together because everyone's got a nice little personality.
I got downright anatomical with that one. I actually have a song coming up on the new record where I mentioned the labia minora.
Oh boy, that's not on this Bonafide, but this is in the next one. Yeah.
Appetite for Seduction. It's coming. Oh man, is it coming? And then the last one, I'm not early on. I revealed some of the titles coming up, but once we hit the new year, I'm leaking these out one by one. So I'm actually announcing this for the first time here. Appetite for Seduction. Number 9 is gonna kill you, but that's gonna be like I said, that's gonna be. It could be a double album by the time I get to it, but I'm doing a lot. Man's got to rest.
Just get the children out of the room, unless this is what you're trying to teach them. But this is some stuff that, hey, you wanna have a good time with it. And if you got like what do you call them, virgin ears? Let's best not break your virginity with that.
That's okay. No, this will get you all sauced up and ready, and it'll get you in the mood, and it'll get you laughing. Listen, any girl that's laughing, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
If she's screaming and running, that's a bad thing. Laughing,
no.
Great.
Lots of dong talk, hoochie coochie, hoochie coochie. I was just thinking about you had something in your bio about listening to Jim Reeves, and that was one of the things that sort of, I don't know if that was a turning point or was just something that you put in your back pocket and said, this is something I'll remember later on because I'd like to improve on this country stuff.
He is a lost voice in country. Very big influence on a lot of people. They got a lot more attention after because he died young, very sadly. But
in a plane crash, sure.
That early voice and that style, you hear that on an old Victrola in a brothel, and right off the Panhandle, you don't forget it, and it's just haunting. It's like a haunting. So I always like to give the nod to Jim Reeves, but. A lot of that early stuff, Marty Robbins, I like the early kind of story songs. And that's more where I dip into. A lot of my songwriting harkens back to those story song days, late or mid-'60s, late 60s.
Yeah. And they sort of, they knew how to belt and croon those songs out, Marty Robbins, Jim Reeves, et cetera. Yeah. But I just remember the Chattahoochee. That was Jim Reeves, and he did the hoochie coochie or whatever. So that's there's some coochie in the stuff that you write too. So I figured there's
absolutely. I have a song called Coochie.
You got a song for everything there, and that's kind of what I appreciate about you. You're getting it all out on the table.
Well, Dean, somebody's got to provide songs for all the bar mitzvahs out there. No, look, it's party music. It's fun music. Yeah, if you're a kid and you hear just kind of by accident, you might not even get half the stuff that's in there. You might not have all the references down. Like you might not catch that I was referencing the Three's Company or the Lord of the Rings or whatever in there.
Oh, okay. So you got whatever strikes you at the time or you might be into could find its way into your song.
There's so many Easter eggs in what I do. It's all packed full. And I'm really trolling every generation, including the silent generation. I really am. And they're not listening, but I'm trolling them anyway because I'm into that stuff. I grew up with it all. If I talk about Johnny Weissmuller, Tarzan movies, maybe you're going to know about it, but any kid today can be like, Johnny who?
Yeah.
Like, Johnny Weissmuller. Come on.
No subject matters off limits as long as it comes from your, springs from your loins and it comes from your head. You don't
like
have
Lash
to.
LaRue.
Lash LaRue. There you go. Getting that lasso and cracking the whip there too.
I could be Lamont Cranston, the stranger, or Albert Camus. I don't know.
What haven't you done lately? Let's see. Ever had one of those babes come back to your Beau Nair lair, so to speak? And
not lately. Ever since after the pandemic, it's funny. I write out these salacious songs, and I've kind of kept to myself still. I'm enjoying my private time, but I know at some point when I step out there in the sunshine a little bit, and I've gone out a couple times. I did some karaoke and some different things, just showed up and had some fun. But
okay.
Woo! Man, I've realized that some ladies, even older than I, are enjoy my company, and they seem to want to kind of sit on my lap and do something I may not be into. But so some of the younger ladies like the silver tiger right here. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm opening myself up to the world with all my albums and stuff like that. I just want people to enjoy the music, and then whether they meet the band behind it or not, I guess, is whether they can get through the barricades in my security detail. Oh.
Ladies do seem to like the silver tiger. That's come out after the pandemic. A lot of people showing that, this is what my real silver is, And I don't know if the carpets match the drapes. That's what you show the ladies when they come in.
You can't fake the funk.
No, you can't. Sure. I hope that you didn't take one back to your place there and discover there was a dong beneath a thong or nothing like that.
Hey,
no surprises.
The songs like that write themselves. The dong beneath the thong. I'll give you credit if I ever throw. Well,
yeah, please just give me an inspirational credit there. I don't need anything, but some glory out of that.
I have a love for people, and I have a love for people being who they want to be, who they need to be, who they are. And discovering who they are unencumbered by anybody else's opinions. I like to go back to the words of the great Dr. Frank N. Furter, don't dream it, be it.
What's that, Rocky Horror reference there?
I'm being it right now.
You are full of these things. And
hey, touch it.
I think that's why I appreciate you, Beau. It's on the surface, you're going to listen to these tracks and go like, what the hell is this? To put it nicely, because I'm saying this
I like
radio.
that. No, that's good. I like being unexpected, because sometimes something will come at you like, did I just hear that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait till you hear this.
No, I won't back it up. I'll just take it for granted. That's what I heard, But you've given the backstory on a lot of this stuff, and it's good. But let me see if I got the set list here. I mean, not the set list, but your track listing for this latest thing you got here. By the way, if you want to check this out, go to beaunair.com, BEAUNAIR.
Or just any streaming service. You could find 7 of my albums, and next Friday, 8. So
and videos. Yeah, and I noticed you put out a couple videos. You had one for Funk You that I watched out there when you're out there on the rocks in the desert or something like that. So
that's the video that made me realize that I actually have a fairly big gay fan club out there. So hey, everybody.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because now you are learning who's checking you out and who's listening to you. And
I'm an equal opportunity sex god, so come on. I don't swing that way, but I'm happy to provide a calendar with some lascivious photos for everyone.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm a funked up cowboy, critical to move you in a way that gets your ass cheeks bumping to the funk tree. Now you wanna funk me, but I wanna funk you too, like gorillas at the zoo. Ooh, I'm gonna funk you. I might spelunk you. Gonna dunk you deep in a tub of my love juice. Come on, yeah. I'm gonna funk you deep. Ooh, baby, you will never sleep alone. With Beau Nair on the phone, you will conjure my bone. Got her waiting at home, yeah. Now I'm a sensual lover, and your pleasure is my aim every time. Yeah, I know how to make you smile. Got your clitoris on speed dial. I'm an army of one, a badass battalion. Better grab the reins, you can't tame this stallion. Looking at my ass in jeans makes your mother scream while she creams her control top hosiery. Hey, I'm gonna funk you, I might spelunk you. Yeah, gonna dunk you deep in a tub of my love juice. Come on, baby, yeah, right. I'm gonna funk you deep. Ooh, oh, baby, you will never sleep alone. With Beau Nair on the phone, you will conjure my bone. Got it waiting at home, yeah.
Well, listen, let's see. Are You Ready is one of the things that starts out the album. Now, that's one of the things I noticed. You like to come out of the box with that bass swinging, so to speak. And you.
Oh man, oh, do I ever?
Are you ready? Ready for the heat? Ready for the superfine feeling in your meat? Ready for enticement? Ready for relation? Ready for the feeling of a deep sensation? Ready for the love? Ready for the soul? Ready for a tickle in your hiney hole? Ready for the outlaw, heavyweight, superstar candidate. Everyone knows he's a bona fide hustler. You made the most of me. You drank a naked toast to me. You said your name was Peppermint, and you knew just where my sausage went. How did I know from your disguise that you had such nice inner thighs? I want some slipping on my jaws since you give it to me till I'm fucking gone, son. Yeah. Are you ready? Ready for the heat? Ready for the superfine feeling in your meat? Ready for enticement? Ready for relation? Ready for the feeling of a deep sensation? Ready for the love? Ready for the soul? Ready for a tickle in your hiney hole? Ready for the outlaw, heavyweight heavyweight superstar candidate. Everyone knows he's a bona fide hustler.
This album coming up this Friday, the opening song's called Where the Sun Don't Shine.
Uh-oh.
And that one's going to steamroll up your booty like crazy. You're going to not stop you able to wiggle. It's like goes back to my dancing disco roots, Casey and the Sunshine Band, and all the good stuff.
Oh, good. Yeah, look, a good time album. Good to know. Do It To Me was one of these. That's the next one that comes up here. Funk is Evident. And people are going to hear that right off. The first 10 seconds going to sound like the drum and bass, like Queen-like. You're going to hear that, but then it gets its own. The funk starts to manifest itself in other ways. So you got.
I let the bass take over that song. It's just girth all the way through.
Yeah.
Woo! That's what it feels like when that funktry gets all up in your face and starts wiggling around up there and vibrating in your colon. Oh, man, this song's about something that, not that I'm going to do to you, I'm already doing it. It's about something that you're going to do to me. Come on now, you got that something that I need. You want to ride me like speed. I got a grip of tasty weed that we can burn on down tonight. You got that booty that I want. You always shake it till you taunt and tease me. You can please me anytime you like. Just do it to me. I dropped my pickle on the ground. You picked it up without sound, and we procured a quarter pound of fine Hawaiian green. Yeah. You sniffed my pickle in the park. We hit swing set after dark, and then we seesawed watching hee-haw on our screens. Yeah, you got that something that I need. You wanna ride me like a steed. I got a grip of tasty weed that we can burn on down tonight. You got that booty that I want. You always shake it till you taunt and tease me. You can please me anytime you like. Just do it to me. I played Van Halen in my car. You said I drove you way too far, but I got them doobies in a jar, and so we took a puff. We smoked a fatty by the lake. You tried to give more than you take. We went to Lidsville and got high with HR puffin' stuff.
So you know how to marry the funk and the bass and the drums together, which is a good foundation for the rhythm section. Then whatever else you want to do. Is that how you've constructed a lot of your songs when you get in that studio and put them down?
Sometimes you start with a cool drum beat and you're hanging out there and you start singing something. Sometimes I start with lyrics. It comes out in all different ways. Sometimes I'm sitting at the piano doing a little thing. Sometimes I'll lay down some funky bass ideas. I'll just throw something together real quickly, lay down a little funk off something, and then put it away. And then one day I'll go and there'll be like 10 of them there. And I'll just start listening through and listening, sitting back. And all of a sudden, if I start singing something about panties or whatever, it's like, boom, it's on like Donkey Kong. And I start working out, getting my guitar and getting stuff together and putting it all together. And
yeah.
As you hear.
Kind of the way Alan Sherman did it, right? I see that we're talking about that album in the back. Which one do you got in there? It's hard to see it through the glare.
That's my son, the folk singer, but my son, the celebrity, was also big growing up.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So yeah, you like a little bit of that parody, and that's good.
That all those were recorded at his own birthday parties, live with an orchestra.
I didn't know enough about that fact.
So he was a television executive. He's doing this stuff at parties, like Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner were doing the 2,000-year-old man at parties. You should put this on a record. So he did it. Yeah. But these are, you look on the back, it's like recorded at Alan Sherman's birthday party, and they got a whole orchestra and stuff. But those records sold huge until they died of emphysema from smoking too many cigarettes.
You have to remember the time. This is what sold back then. A lot of spoken word, a lot of comedy, a lot of little parody songs like he was doing back there. Stan Freberg, all these others. Doing
the Banana Boat song.
Banana Boat song. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, we talked about Smothered and Mothers. I'm not just like going in order or everything, but She Loves My Dong. That's classic. Everybody loves that one.
She loves my dong. She loves my dong. Every night it's tight. She loves my dong. She loves my dong. By the pale moonlight, coming on strong, coming on strong. I won't put up a fight if you're gonna wrestle the tiger. You gonna feel his teeth. Come on. And when I see that look on your face, and you're licking your lips, and I imagine the way that you taste deep between your hips. Ooh, my mustache fused to your bones. I'm cooler than the bones. I just can't wait till you reciprocate. That's why I'm singing these dirty songs. Yeah, she loves my dong, she loves my dong. Every day, okay? She loves my dong, she loves my dong. Every hoe, every way. Coming on strong, coming on strong. Come on and make my day. If you're gonna ride the tiger, you ain't gonna need a saddle. Oh.
Good instrumental on that. If anything, you're gonna listen to that and go like, I'm just digging this groove, and then oh yeah, it turns out that she loves my dong. That's part of the story that you're telling on there.
There's got to be songs for men out there to feel appreciated. Look, this modern age, men are getting kind of slagged on a lot, and I get it because there's a lot of toxic male masculinity out there. But I think there's got to be a song like, She Loves My Dong, or I got Swinging, a new song that on Dark Side of the Moonshine. That's a song where you're walking, you're feeling like you're having a good D-Day, you know what I mean? Not D-Day like the other one, D-Day like the D. I won't say it on the show, but I got my Dark Side of the Moonshine. I got a song called Schlong, and that's another song about when you like the lady tickling on your schlong.
Yeah. Well, we just had the Grammys award. Maybe next year we see that on the show. You know,
from your lips.
That's right. That's what I'm hoping for, anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying not to censor myself too much. I'm pretty good at doing that, but. Listen, Beau, I tell you what, I appreciate you giving some honest talk, and then keeping your tongue in check. I don't mind the occasional. That's to be expected, and plus I can put more of this on video for people to see on YouTube.
Well, I have a lot of respect for what you're doing, Dean, and I love this conversation we're having. Happy to deep dive on any subject you want to anytime. But this is great, and look, talking to people about songwriting, they might hear something and be like, what's a song? I'll ask you, what's one of your favorite artists that you've listened to since you were young that's kind of grown with you?
Well, since I was young, maybe, I don't know, later on, Sting. Let's say right. The Police.
So what? Okay, I love the Police. So tell me not a hit song that people should listen to by the Police or Sting that you think is a great song, way overlooked because it's like an album cut.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say like a Dead End Job. That would be something that goes sounds a little punkish, and it's raw, and he does say a few choice words in there that you wouldn't hear on the air. So and they wouldn't put it on an album. So it's like one of those B-side types.
I'll throw one at you. You're an Elton John fan?
Yes.
Do you ever hear a song off Blue Moves called Chameleon?
I have to go back and listen. Yeah.
Do that. This it's one of those things you like to pass those along. Somebody out there is going to hear that, go check it out, listen to it, and then it gets to blossom like a flower all over again. I love it. Yes.
Okay. So this is the early days here with Bernie and everything, and
oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
76, I think.
He's got a vast catalog now. Over the years, so it's tough to remember. I don't want to sit there and snow you and say that. Oh yeah, I know that one. Sure.
Well, look, I'm making my catalog right now, and I'm gonna keep adding to it and making music as long as I can. I got bitten by the bug.
Yeah, you sure have, and you got the instrumentation to back it up. I'm glad that you are able to express yourself using all these instruments. It makes it easier that way, because then you're not limited by say, hey, I need some piano. I better go find somebody that can play that with me. You know how to put this down.
My mind, my heart, my soul, and my loins are all reflected in my music.
Good. For those watching this, I think we talked about this once, but he's got a Rickenbacker bass in the background there. What other bass guitars do you have in the house?
I got an old Fender Jazz, and I played that a long time. I got it from a gospel guy of a gospel band doing something. He sold it for whatever he was in for. I got it. I still have it. But once I got that, oh my God, I started funking on it, and I realized what Rick James was singing about.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "Give it to me, baby." He was talking to the bass.
He sure was. Yeah.
He said, "Give it to me, bassy." But then the Count Basie could have come in, and the Count Basie's all in there, and then you got Joe Williams singing. Then we could talk about Joe Williams all day long.
Sure. Well, maybe give 15 seconds on Joe Williams. What
Joe
grabs you about him?
Count Basie Orchestra. He was a great soul singer, and a lot of these guys that were in jazz in the 50s and 60s got into funky music in the early 70s, and I like that kind of funky stuff. So there's a Joe Williams record. It's not on streaming. It's called Live, and Going to Chicago's on there and stuff like that. There's a song called Sad Song. Got Carol Kay of the Wrecking Crew on the bass, and that's a nice slick one. You want a slick one in the afternoon, you can probably find that on the YouTube. I got it on the vinyl over on the rack. Oh, yes, I do.
He's got a nice rich voice, too. Would you say that's like a baritone, that big old deep voice?
Down there in the baritone. Yeah, he's got a big baritone. It's a nice voice, too. Nice, big, buttery, butterscotch voice.
Yeah.
Love it. Great stuff.
Overlooked, but I'm glad that, he still finds life in the memories of people like you who will still take them to heart, you know.
Big fan. I saw him live once. I'm glad I did. I saw a lot of people live that are no longer with us. You got to go out and see live music, especially the older folks, because you never know.
Yeah.
I was once going to see Nirvana, and I was like, I'll see him next time.
Yes, that's what happens. you say there's always another day for that. Oh, we missed it. But this has been a good talk, Beau. I really appreciate this a lot. You know,
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Yeah,
Well,
that bass we were talking about, I forgot to complete that thought though. But is this what you recorded? What you plugged into the board and played on Bonafide and all the other ones?
every single song. That's right. That's it right there. So when you're hearing the bass, right there, that's my baby.
How'd you come across that one? Get it online, or you went to a guitar shop and bought it?
Music shop going out of business.
Yeah.
And it was hanging on the wall. And I walked in there and I saw it, and my heart stopped because to get it. It's also, if you like David Patton from Pilot.
Okay.
He look at the video from Magic. He was playing the same thing too. I think the guy from Hocus Pocus, and Black and White, Rick, on the wall. I was like, oh my God, I gotta have it. He's like, oh no, that's mine. I'm saving it. I was like, oh, you selling everything in here? You're saving that one. And I thought about it, and I realized that he was trying to get his store liquidated. I walked back in there with some cash. Money talks, me and that bass walks.
And you got it. So
there
great.
it is. Had to have it. And I love it. It's you hear it on it. Look, you listen to Do It To Me. That's I can't make a fatter bass on any other bass. That's the fattest bass I could possibly make.
Yeah.
I mix my music that way too, because I want you to have it right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Well, good. Hey, Beau, I was going to limit this. Hey, it looks like we got went into extra hours. That's good. That means I can pull some of this music and give them a taste of big fat touching groins and all the stinks. And I'm not going to say everything in order here, but
well, unfortunately, I do have to run down. I got to get groceries before the store closes because I live I'm kind of far from major town, so I got a cutoff. And if I don't get some food, I'm gonna go hungry because I sometimes forget to fill the fridge while I'm making music, and you know how that happens.
I do appreciate you coming on. It was certainly a good. I didn't know what I was gonna get from you, but I'm glad that under that hat is some great stuff.
Well, Dane, man, let's do this again sometime. I'd love to come chat with you. Let's do a part 2, and maybe I could play a song or two for you.
Yeah. Sorry we didn't have time for that, but you didn't really have the setup for it. We'll have to get something going there. Here's. Give me a taste of what's going on there. Maybe a couple seconds, and then that way we can save a little live
couple seconds or something. All right. I guess you had an idea that I want to fornicate a ton with your sleazy little sister. It's true, we had a fling back in the days, and then like Journey went our separate ways. But darling, now I'm here to take you higher. If you give me the stroke like Billy Squire, tell your sister that I'm gonna leave her, 'cause she got that sweet little beaver. Oh, your sweet little beaver. That's on one of my records. Sweet little beaver.
Nice. Here's
Romance is not dead.
There we go. Here's my encore there.
Oh, I like that. Well, Dean, let's do this again, all right?
Okay, before you get out the door, let me see if I got the last question for you. Okay, here we go. Here's my payoff question. You've heard this before about aspiring artists getting advice, but I usually word it a little differently. For artists out there, new and experienced, we're all human. We talked a little bit about this in the interview, but we can all get in a funk every once in a while, in a blue moon, and do you have any words of encouragement that some of us can hold right here in our heart when the times get tough and the doubts start creeping in?
I do. I have two little words that I like to keep in mind. When anybody out there doubts what you're doing, when anybody out there tells you that you won't ever, you can't ever, you'll never, or whatever, you don't even have to say these words out loud. You just got to think them because they're magic. Them 2 words is watch me. Show with your actions. Show with your results. Do not share your plans with anybody. Do your thing. Trust almost no one. Trust carefully. And make sure that the person you trust, love, and respect the most is yourself.
All right. Beau Nair, that's words to live by and take to your heart. And I want to thank you once more. Go get some fuel in your belly there.
I
and,
will.
Go down the hill, get some groceries or whatever it is you're going to do. And
Thank you, Dean.
It was a pleasure. I hope we can do this again, and we can maybe think up something. You can do a little set for us on the air, and we'd love that.
I would love to do that. I'll prepare it. We'll get it all ready and do it soon, all right?
Okay, you got it. Take good care of yourself, sir.
You too. Let me know what you think of Appetite for Seduction.
I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen for that. You go.
All right, I'll see you soon, Dean.
All right, take care. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Right. All right, there you go. That's Beau Nair. For more info, go to beaunair.com. I'll spell it for you. BEAUNAIR.com. And at Beau Nair Country on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All these songs are courtesy of Beau Nair, whether you heard it on the recording or you heard that little thing on the guitar. Hey, not what I was expecting, but more than I was expecting in a good way. So thank you, Beau, for coming on. And I got to get going. So strongwriter.com. Go in there and check out all the things that there is to offer. Archive has some great diversity of folks, including Beau. And once again, I appreciate him. So, until next time, this is Dean Olson, the Strong Writer on the Radio, signing off for now and saying to you all, let's all put our best pens forward, just like Beau Nair, and be strong writers together. Now, go forth, have a wonderful day, God bless, take care, and we'll talk to you next time. Goodbye now. You've been listening to Strong Writer on the Radio, as heard on the Dean Olson radio program, and heard all across America on Power Me Up Radio, powered by Reagan International.